My hands shook as I stood in the marble hallway of the Sinclair mansion, the place I had called home for 23 years. My father's words echoed in my ears like a death sentence. "You are no longer my son, Kai." The declaration came after weeks of tension. My family had discovered my secret relationship with another Omega, something they considered shameful and unacceptable. In their world of business empires and social standing, an Omega who preferred other Omegas was a stain they could not tolerate. "Father, please," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "I can change. I can." Silence. His voice boomed through the hall. My mother stood beside him, her face turned away from me. My older brother, Marcus, watched with cold indifference. "We have made arrangements for you. You will marry Alpha Ethan Cross." My blood ran cold. Ethan Cross. Everyone knew that name. 2 years ago, he had been the most sought-after alpha in the city. Powerful, wealthy, and devastatingly handsome. Then came the accident. A car crash that left him wheelchair-bound and scarred. Rumors said he had become a recluse, bitter and broken. "He needs an Omega to care for him," my father continued. "His family is willing to take you despite your defects. You should be grateful." Grateful. The word tasted like poison. 3 days later, I stood at the entrance of the Cross estate with a single suitcase. The mansion was enormous but strangely quiet. A butler named Harrison greeted me with sympathetic eyes. "Master Ethan is in the East Wing," he said softly. "He rarely leaves his room. Please be patient with him." I nodded, my heart pounding. As Harrison led me through dim corridors, I noticed covered paintings and dusty furniture. This house felt more like a tomb than a home. We stopped at a large oak door. Harrison knocked twice, then opened it without waiting for a response. The room was dark, curtains drawn tight. In the shadows, I could make out a figure in a wheelchair by the window. "Master Ethan, your husband has arrived. Leave us," a rough voice commanded. Harrison bowed and left quickly. I stood frozen, clutching my suitcase. "So you're the reject," Ethan said without turning around. "The Omega they threw away." His words stung, but I forced myself to speak. "My name is Kai Sinclair. Kai Cross now." He laughed bitterly. "Don't bother with formalities. We both know this isn't a real marriage. You're here because your family couldn't stand the sight of you, and mine needed someone to babysit their crippled son." I wanted to argue, to defend myself, but the truth in his words silenced me. "Your room is across the hall," he continued. "Stay out of my way, and we'll get along fine." That first night, I lay awake in my new room, staring at the ceiling. The loneliness felt suffocating. I thought about my former life, my mistakes, and the relationship that had cost me everything. My ex-boyfriend, another Omega named River, had disappeared the moment my family found out about us. He had promised he loved me, but when things got difficult, he ran. Now I was stuck in this cold mansion with a man who hated the world. But as I drifted to sleep, I felt something strange. Faint nausea. A dizziness I had been ignoring for weeks. I pushed the thought away, telling myself it was just stress. The next morning, I woke up and immediately ran to the bathroom, throwing up violently. When I finished, I sat on the cold tile floor, my mind racing. Couldn't be. River and I had been careful, mostly careful. I counted back the weeks, my hands trembling. 6 weeks since I had last seen River. 6 weeks since that final night together before everything fell apart. Oh God, I was pregnant. Panic seized me. How could I tell anyone? My family had already disowned me. Ethan barely acknowledged my existence. And carrying another Omega's child? That was scandalous beyond measure. Alphas married Omegas expecting to father their children, not raise someone else's baby. I had to hide it, at least until I figured out what to do. For the next few days, I avoided Ethan completely. I spent my time exploring the empty mansion and trying to keep my morning sickness hidden. Harrison was kind, bringing me meals and checking on me, but I could see the questions in his eyes. On the 4th day, everything changed. I was walking past the library when I heard a crash and a cry of pain. Without thinking, I rushed inside. Ethan had fallen from his wheelchair. He was on the floor, surrounded by scattered books, his face twisted in frustration and humiliation. "Don't just stand there," he snarled. "Either help me or leave." I hurried forward, kneeling beside him. "I'm going to help you up. Is that okay?" He glared at me but nodded stiffly. As I helped him back into his wheelchair, our faces were inches apart. Up close, I could see his features clearly for the first time. The scars on his face didn't hide his sharp jawline and intense gray eyes. He was still handsome, just in a more rugged way. "Thank you," he muttered, looking away. It was the first civil thing he had said to me. The morning sickness was getting worse. I spent most mornings hunched over the toilet, praying no one would hear. By the end of my second week at the Cross Estate, I had lost weight and dark circles shadowed my eyes. "You look terrible," Ethan said bluntly one afternoon. I had brought him tea, as I did every day at 3 o'clock. It had become our routine, though we rarely spoke beyond basic pleasantries. "I'm fine," I lied, setting the cup on his desk. "You're not fine. You look like you're dying." I forced a smile, just adjusting to the new environment. He studied me with those piercing gray eyes, and I felt exposed. But he didn't push further, returning his attention to his laptop. Ethan spent most of his time working from home, managing his family's technology company. Despite his physical limitations, his mind was sharp as ever. Sometimes I would hear him on conference calls, his voice commanding and confident, so different from the bitter man I saw in private. That night, I made a decision. I needed prenatal vitamins and proper medical care, but I couldn't risk going to a regular doctor who might inform the Cross family. I contacted an old friend from college, Maya, who worked as a nurse. We met at a small cafe far from the estate. "Kai, you look awful," she said immediately, her face full of concern. "I know. Maya, I need your help. And you can't tell anyone." Her eyes widened as I explained everything. My family's rejection, the arranged marriage, and finally, the pregnancy. "How far along are you?" she asked. "About 7 or 8 weeks, I think." She reached across the table and took my hand. "You need proper prenatal care. I can help you, but Kai, you can't hide this forever. What will you do when you start showing?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I just need time to think." Maya gave me vitamins and basic instructions. As I left the cafe, I felt both relieved and terrified. When I returned to the estate, Harrison was waiting in the entrance hall, looking worried. "Master Ethan had a difficult afternoon," he said quietly. "His physical therapy session didn't go well." I found Ethan in his room, staring out the window. His jaw was clenched, hands gripping the armrests of his wheelchair. "Bad day?" I asked softly. "Every day is a bad day," he replied bitterly. "The therapist says I'm not trying hard enough. Like I'm not already doing everything I can." I moved closer, unsure what to say. "For what it's worth, I think you're trying hard." He turned to look at me, surprise flickering across his face. "You don't know anything about me." "You're right. But I see you working every day. I see you pushing yourself even when it clearly hurts. That takes strength." For a moment, something soft appeared in his expression. Then his walls went back up. "Don't pity me. I'm not. I'm just telling you what I see." That night, for the first time, we had dinner together. Harrison served us in the small dining room rather than bringing trays to our separate rooms. The conversation was stilted at first, but slowly, Ethan began to open up. "The accident happened 2 years ago," he said, pushing food around his plate. "A drunk driver ran a red light. My fiancée was in the car with me." I froze. "What happened to her?" "She died instantly. I survived with a broken spine and more scars than I can count. The doctors said I'd never walk again." He laughed without humor. "My fiancé's family blamed me, said I should have been more careful. And my own family, they just saw me as damaged goods." "I'm sorry," I whispered. "Everyone's sorry. Sorry doesn't change anything." He looked at me directly. "Why did your family really disown you?" "The truth." I hesitated, then decided honesty was the only option. I was in love with another Omega. They found out and couldn't accept it. In their world, that kind of love is shameful. Ethan nodded slowly. So we're both disappointments. Maybe that's why they paired us together. Maybe, I agreed. Something shifted between us that night. We weren't friends, but we weren't complete strangers anymore either. Over the next few weeks, I continued hiding my pregnancy while spending more time with Ethan. He started requesting my company during meals and even invited me to watch movies with him in the evenings. His harsh exterior began to crack, revealing glimpses of the man he used to be: intelligent, funny, and surprisingly kind. One evening, as we watched an old comedy, I laughed at a joke and felt a sharp pain in my abdomen. I gasped, pressing my hand to my stomach. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked immediately, concern in his voice. "Nothing, just a cramp." But the pain persisted. Later that night, alone in my room, I felt it again. Stronger this time. Panic gripped me. Was something wrong with the baby? I called Maya in tears. "Kai, breathe," she said calmly. "Cramping can be normal, but given your stress levels, I want you to come in for a proper checkup. Tomorrow. No arguments." The next morning, I told Harrison I had a doctor's appointment in the city. Ethan overheard. "Are you sick?" he asked, his brow furrowed. "Just a routine checkup," I lied. "Harrison can drive you." "No. I prefer to go alone. I'll take a cab." He looked suspicious but didn't press further. At the clinic, Maya performed an ultrasound. When the heartbeat filled the room, strong and steady, I burst into tears. "The baby's fine," Maya assured me, squeezing my hand. "But Kai, you need to reduce your stress, and you really need to tell someone, preferably your husband." "I can't. He'll hate me." "You don't know that." But I did know. Ethan was finally starting to tolerate me, maybe even like me. If he found out I was carrying another man's child, he would despise me. When I returned to the estate, Ethan was waiting in the sitting room. "You were gone for 4 hours, he said. "That's a long checkup." "There was traffic," I said weakly. He wheeled closer, studying my face. "Kai, you can tell me if something's wrong. Despite everything, you've been kind to me. I want to return that kindness." My heart ached at his words. He was really trying to be better. And here I was, lying to him every single day. "I'm fine," I said, forcing a smile. "Really?" That night, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, lifting my shirt. A small bump was beginning to show. Soon I wouldn't be able to hide it anymore. The next morning would mark 2 months since I arrived at the Cross estate. 2 months of secrets, lies, and unexpected connection with a man I never expected to care about. And time was running out. The seasons were changing, and so was everything between Ethan and me. 3 months had passed since my arrival, and autumn had painted the estate grounds in shades of gold and red. I was now 12 weeks pregnant, and hiding it was becoming increasingly difficult. I wore loose clothing and avoided standing in bright light. So far, my secret remained safe. But something unexpected was happening. I was falling for Ethan. It started small, the way my heart would skip when he smiled, which was happening more often now. Or how I looked forward to our evening movie sessions, when we would sit close together and he would share stories from his past. "I used to love hiking," he told me one evening, his voice wistful. "There's a trail about an hour from here. The view from the top is incredible. I always thought I'd take my family there someday." "Your future children?" I asked softly. He nodded. Then his expression darkened. "That's not going to happen now." "Why not?" "Look at me, Kai. I'm broken. What kind of father could I be when I can't even stand up?" I turned to face him fully. "Being a good father has nothing to do with walking. It's about being present, being loving, being patient. You have those qualities." He stared at me, something vulnerable in his eyes. "You really believe that?" "I do." That night, he asked me to help him with his physical therapy exercises. It was intimate, my hands supporting his legs as he worked through painful stretches. His face contorted with effort, sweat beading on his forehead. "You're doing great," I encouraged. It hurts like hell, he gasped. I know, but you're stronger than you think. When we finished, he caught my hand. Thank you, not just for tonight, but for everything. You didn't have to be kind to me. I was horrible to you when you first arrived. You were hurting, I said simply. People say things they don't mean when they're in pain. His thumb traced circles on my palm, sending shivers through me. You're a good person, Kai. Your family were fools to let you go. I wanted to kiss him in that moment. The urge was so strong it scared me. But then reality crashed back. I was pregnant with another man's child. What right did I have to these feelings? I pulled my hand away gently. I should get some rest. Good night, Ethan. Confusion flashed across his face, but he nodded. Good night. The next day, Harrison asked to speak with me privately. Master Kai, I don't mean to pry, but are you feeling well? I've noticed you seem tired lately. My heart hammered. I'm fine, Harrison. Thank you for your concern. He studied me carefully. If you ever need help with anything at all, please know you can trust me. Did he suspect? I couldn't be sure, but his kindness made tears prick my eyes. That afternoon, I received an unexpected visitor. Marcus, my older brother, appeared at the estate. We need to talk, he said coldly. We sat in the garden, far from the house. Marcus looked uncomfortable, constantly checking his watch. Father sent me, he began. He wants to know if Cross is satisfied with the arrangement. Satisfied? I repeated, anger rising in my chest. You mean is he satisfied with the defective Omega you dumped on him? Marcus had the decency to look ashamed. Kai, I know you're angry, but this marriage serves a purpose. The Cross family needed an Omega caretaker, and our family needed to save face. If you can just maintain appearances. Get out, I said quietly. What? I said get out. I don't want to see you. Tell Father the arrangement is fine. Tell him whatever you want. But don't come here again. Marcus stood, adjusting his suit. You've changed, little brother. You're harder now. I had to be. You all made sure of that. After he left, I sat in the garden crying. All the hurt and rejection I had been suppressing came flooding back. That's where Ethan found me. He had wheeled himself outside, something he rarely did. Harrison told me you had a visitor. Are you okay? My brother came, I said, wiping my tears, just to check that I'm behaving properly, that I'm not embarrassing the family further. Ethan's jaw clenched. Your family are idiots. Despite everything, I laughed. That's the nicest thing anyone said about them. He moved his wheelchair closer. Kai, I need to tell you something. These past few months, you've changed my life. When you first arrived, I was drowning in bitterness. I had given up. But you, he paused, taking a shaky breath. You made me want to try again, to be better. My heart pounded. Ethan, let me finish. I know this marriage was arranged. I know neither of us wanted it. But I need you to know that I care about you, deeply. And if you're willing, I'd like to try to make this real. The world seemed to stop. He was offering me everything I secretly wanted. A real marriage, a chance at happiness. But I was carrying another man's child. A child he knew nothing about. I care about you too, I whispered. More than I should. Then why do you look so sad? Because I'm lying to you, I thought. Because when you find out the truth, you'll hate me. I'm not sad, I lied. I'm just overwhelmed. He reached for my hand, and this time I let him take it. We don't have to rush anything. I just wanted you to know how I feel. That night, Ethan asked if I would sleep in his room. Not for anything physical, just to not be alone. I agreed, my heart full and breaking at the same time. We lay in his large bed, talking in the darkness about our hopes and fears. He told me about his dreams before the accident, the places he wanted to visit, the life he had imagined. What about you? He asked. What do you want from life? I want to be loved for who I am, I said honestly. Not who my family wanted me to be. I want to wake up every day feeling safe and valued. You are valued, he said softly. By me. I turned toward him, and in the moonlight streaming through the window, I saw him looking at me with such tenderness it made my chest ache. "Can I kiss you?" he asked. I should have said no. I should have confessed everything right then. Instead, I whispered, "Yes." The kiss was gentle, tentative. His lips were warm against mine, and I felt something inside me shift permanently. This wasn't just attraction anymore. I was completely, hopelessly in love with him. When we pulled apart, he smiled. A real, genuine smile that transformed his whole face. "I've wanted to do that for weeks," he admitted. "Me too," I confessed. We fell asleep holding hands, and for one perfect night, I let myself forget about the complications waiting in the morning. But reality couldn't be ignored forever. I was 14 weeks pregnant now. Soon, the physical changes would be impossible to hide. And when Ethan discovered the truth, everything we were building would crumble. The nausea hit me like a wave during breakfast. One moment I was spreading jam on toast, the next I was running for the bathroom. I barely made it, vomiting violently into the toilet. When I finished, I found Ethan in the doorway of the bathroom, his face etched with concern. "This is the third time this week," he said quietly. "Kai, what's really going on?" "Food poisoning," I lied weakly. "Maybe the chicken from last night." "I ate the same chicken. I'm fine." He wheeled closer. "You've been sick for weeks now. You're losing weight, you look exhausted, and you're hiding something from me." "I'm not stupid." Panic gripped me. "Ethan, please. Are you dying?" His voice cracked. "Is that it? Some terminal illness you don't want to tell me about?" The raw fear in his eyes broke my heart. Here he was, terrified of losing me, while I was keeping a secret that might destroy us both. "I'm not dying," I said softly. "Then what is it?" "After last week, He paused, clearly struggling. "I thought we were building something real. But you're keeping secrets from me, and it's killing me." I closed my eyes, tears streaming down my face. "I'm pregnant." The silence that followed was deafening. When I opened my eyes, Ethan's face had gone pale. "What?" "I'm pregnant. About 14 weeks now." He stared at me like I had grown a second head. "But we haven't been intimate in that way." "I know. It's not yours." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. I watched as understanding dawned on his face, followed by confusion, then hurt, then anger. "When?" he demanded. "When did this happen?" "Before I came here. Before the arranged marriage. I was with someone, another Omega. My family found out about the relationship, and that's the real reason they disowned me. They discovered us together, and everything fell apart." Ethan's hands gripped his wheelchair so tightly his knuckles turned white. "So all this time, you've been carrying another man's child and lying to me about it?" "I was scared," I said desperately. "I didn't know what to do. My family threw me away. The father of my baby abandoned me, and I was sent to marry a stranger. I was going to tell you, I just needed time." "Time?" He laughed bitterly. "We've had months, Kai. Months where I opened up to you, where I let myself trust you, where I started to fall." He stopped abruptly, his jaw clenched. "Did you ever plan to tell me? Or were you just going to let me believe the baby was mine when it was born?" "No, I would never do that. I was trying to figure out how to handle this. I was terrified you'd reject me like everyone else did. So instead you lied. You let me develop feelings for you while hiding something this huge." He turned his wheelchair away from me. "I need you to leave. Now. Ethan, please. Get out." His voice echoed off the bathroom tiles. I stumbled out, my legs barely supporting me. In the hallway, Harrison stood with sympathetic eyes but said nothing. He had probably heard everything. I locked myself in my room and cried until I had no tears left. I had known this moment would come, but that didn't make it hurt any less. Hours later, there was a soft knock on my door. "Harrison." "Master Kai, may I come in?" I opened the door, my eyes swollen and red. Harrison carried a tray with tea and soup. "You need to eat. For the baby's sake, if not your own." I accepted the tray numbly. "He hates me now. He's hurt." Harrison corrected gently. Master Ethan has been betrayed many times in his life. His fiancée's death, his family's treatment of him after the accident, the way people pitted him. He had started to believe you were different. I am different. Care about him. I love him. The words tumbled out before I could stop them. But I'm also pregnant with another man's child. How can we move past that? Harrison sat beside me. I've worked for the Cross family for 30 years. I've seen Master Ethan at his best and worst. Right now, he's processing. Give him time. But as the days passed, Ethan avoided me completely. He took his meals in his room, worked in his office with the door locked, and went to physical therapy when he knew I was elsewhere. I felt like a ghost haunting the estate. On the 5th day, I decided I couldn't stay any longer. I packed my single suitcase and wrote a letter to Ethan. I'm sorry for lying to you. You deserved honesty from the beginning, and I was too scared to give it. You've shown me more kindness than I ever expected, and I'll never forget these months we spent together. You helped me remember that I'm worthy of care and respect. I hope someday you can forgive me. I'm leaving because I can't bear to cause you more pain. Please take care of yourself. Kai. I left the letter on his desk and told Harrison goodbye. Where will you go? He asked, worried. I have a friend in the city. I'll figure something out. Master Kai, perhaps you should wait. Master Ethan might. He won't change his mind, Harrison. And I don't blame him. Maya picked me up at the estate gates. She took one look at me and pulled me into a tight hug. It'll be okay, she promised. You'll stay with me for now. That night, in Maya's small apartment, I lay in her spare room thinking about Ethan. Was he relieved I was gone? Did he miss me at all? Or was he simply glad to be rid of the Omega who had deceived him? I placed my hand on my small bump. It's just you and me now, little one. We'll be okay. Somehow. The next morning, I woke to urgent knocking on Maya's door. She answered it, and I heard a familiar voice. I need to see Kai. Now. My heart stopped. Ethan was here. I walked into the living room to find him in his wheelchair, looking exhausted. His eyes were red-rimmed, like he hadn't slept in days. How did you find me? I whispered. Harrison gave me the address. We need to talk. Maya tactfully disappeared into her room, leaving us alone. Ethan wheeled closer to me. You left without saying goodbye. I left a letter. A letter isn't goodbye. Not after everything. He took a shaky breath. I've been thinking for 5 days straight. About you, about us, about this situation. I braced myself for rejection. I'm still hurt that you lied, he continued. I won't pretend I'm not, but I understand why you did it. You were scared and alone, trying to protect yourself the only way you knew how. Ethan, let me finish. These months with you have been the happiest I've been since before the accident. You saw past my disabilities, past my anger, and treated me like a person. You made me laugh again. You made me hope again. His voice broke. When you left, I realized something. I don't want to lose you. Tears streamed down my face. But the baby isn't mine biologically. I know that. But Kai, if you're willing, I want to be there for both of you. I want to be a father to your child. I want to build a real family with you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You want to raise another man's baby? I want to raise your baby. Because I love you, Kai. I've been falling in love with you for months, and that hasn't changed. I dropped to my knees in front of his wheelchair, taking his hands in mine. I love you too, so much. I'm so sorry I lied. I'm sorry I hurt you. He cupped my face gently, wiping away my tears. Come home, please. Let's do this together. Are you sure? Really sure? This won't be easy. Nothing worth having is easy, he said with a small smile. Besides, I'm pretty good at handling difficult situations. I laughed through my tears and kissed him. This kiss was different from our first, deeper, more meaningful, filled with promises and second chances. When we pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine. We'll figure everything out. Together. Moving back to the Cross estate felt like coming home. Harrison greeted us with barely concealed joy, and even the house itself seemed brighter. But reality quickly set in. We had a lot to navigate: Ethan's family, my pregnancy, and the logistics of building a real marriage from our complicated beginning. "We should tell my parents," Ethan said one evening. "About the baby." I tensed. "What will they think?" "Honestly, they'll probably be shocked. But they'll come around. My mother has been desperate for grandchildren." The Crosses arrived the following week. Richard Cross was a tall, imposing alpha with graying hair. His wife, Margaret, was an elegant Omega who looked me over with sharp, assessing eyes. "So you're the Omega my son married," she said, not unkindly. "Yes, ma'am. I'm Kai." We sat in the formal living room, tension thick in the air. Ethan reached for my hand, a gesture that didn't go unnoticed by his parents. "Mother, father, we have some news," Ethan began. "Kai is pregnant." Margaret's face lit up instantly. "Oh, that's wonderful. When are you due?" "Actually," I interrupted softly, "there's something you need to know. The baby isn't Ethan's biologically. I was pregnant before we married." The room went silent. Richard's expression hardened while Margaret looked confused. "I see," Richard said coldly. "And whose child is it?" "An Omega I was involved with before my family arranged this marriage," I explained, my voice steady despite my nerves. "He's not in the picture." "Let me get this straight," Richard continued. "You're carrying another man's illegitimate child, and you expect my son to raise it?" "I don't expect anything," I said firmly. "But Ethan has chosen to be part of this child's life. That was his decision." Ethan squeezed my hand. "Father, I love Kai. I want to be a father to this baby. I'm asking you to support us." Margaret looked between us, and slowly, a smile formed. "Richard, look at our son. Really look at him. He's happy. When was the last time we saw him smile like this?" Richard studied Ethan carefully. "Since before the accident," he admitted. "Then that's all that matters," Margaret said. She turned to me with warm eyes. "Kai, welcome to our family. Truly." I felt tears prick my eyes. "Thank you." Richard remained silent but eventually nodded stiffly. It wasn't enthusiastic approval, but it was acceptance. After they left, I collapsed against Ethan in relief. "That went better than expected. My mother likes you. That's half the battle won." As my pregnancy progressed, life settled into a comfortable rhythm. Ethan accompanied me to every doctor's appointment, asking questions and taking notes like his life depended on it. When we first heard the baby's heartbeat together, I saw tears in his eyes. "That's our baby," he whispered. "Our baby. Not my baby. Ours." The physical changes in my body were becoming obvious now. At 5 months pregnant, I had a noticeable bump that no amount of loose clothing could hide. One evening, as we lay in bed together, Ethan placed his hand on my stomach. "Have you felt the baby move yet?" "Sometimes. Little flutters." As if on cue, I felt a stronger movement. I grabbed his hand and pressed it firmly against my belly. "There. Did you feel that?" His eyes widened in wonder. "I felt it. Oh my God. Kai." I felt our baby kick. Seeing the pure joy on his face made everything we had been through worth it. But not everything was perfect. Ethan's physical therapy was intensifying, and some days were brutal. I would find him in his room afterwards, exhausted and discouraged. "The therapist says I'm making progress," he told me one particularly difficult day. "But it doesn't feel like enough. I want to be able to walk when the baby comes. I want to be a proper father." "You already are a proper father," I insisted. "Walking has nothing to do with it. But I want to be able to hold our baby while standing. I want to chase them around when they start running. I want—" His voice broke. "I want to be normal for you both." I climbed into his lap carefully, mindful of my growing belly, and wrapped my arms around him. "You are perfect exactly as you are. Our baby will be so lucky to have you as a father. And so am I." He held me tightly, and I felt his tears against my neck. The next challenge came from an unexpected source. River, my ex-boyfriend and the biological father of my baby, suddenly reappeared. I was grocery shopping in the city when I saw him across the store. He looked the same, beautiful, charming, and completely unreliable. He approached with a hesitant smile. Kai, is that really you? My blood ran cold. River. His eyes traveled to my obvious pregnancy. Oh, so the rumors are true. You're pregnant. What do you want? I asked coldly. I heard you married into the Cross family. That's impressive. He had the audacity to look proud. And I heard about the baby. Kai, I've been thinking. Don't. I interrupted. Whatever you're about to say, don't. I made a mistake, he said quickly. When your family found out about us, I got scared and ran. But I've regretted it every day since. And now, knowing you're carrying my baby. Stop right there, I said, my voice sharp. This baby is not yours. You gave up any claim when you abandoned me. You don't get to waltz back into my life now that things are convenient for you. Kai, please. I'm the biological father. Don't I deserve? You deserve nothing, I said firmly. You left me when I needed you most. Ethan stepped up when you ran away. He's this baby's father in every way that matters. River's expression hardened. We'll see about that. I have rights, Kai. He walked away, leaving me shaking with anger and fear. When I got home and told Ethan what happened, his face went pale. He can't take the baby from us. We won't let him. That evening, we met with a lawyer. She explained that as an Omega who had abandoned the relationship before the baby was born, River had limited legal rights, especially since Ethan and I were married. However, she cautioned, he could potentially file for visitation rights. The courts tend to favor biological connections. The thought of River having any access to our child made me feel sick. We'll fight this, Ethan said firmly. Whatever it takes. Over the next few weeks, River made several attempts to contact me. He sent letters, showed up at the estate gates, and even tried calling. Each time, we refused to engage. Finally, he sent a formal letter through a lawyer, requesting a paternity test and visitation rights. He's really doing this, I said, staring at the legal document. Ethan took the paper from my trembling hands. Let him try. We have something he doesn't. We have love, commitment, and a real family. No court will take our baby away. His confidence helped calm my fears, but the stress was taking its toll. My blood pressure was elevated at my next doctor's appointment, and the doctor ordered bed rest. You need to relax, she said sternly. Stress is dangerous for both you and the baby. Ethan took the orders seriously. He worked from home even more, bringing his laptop to our bedroom so he could be near me. He read to me, brought me meals, and made sure I stayed calm. I feel useless just lying here, I complained one afternoon. You're growing our baby. That's the most important job in the world. At 7 months pregnant, we received news that changed everything. River's lawyer contacted us to say that River was dropping his paternity claim. Why? I asked suspiciously. Our lawyer looked pleased. Apparently, he's engaged to another Omega and his fiancée wasn't happy about his attempts to claim your baby. He's signing away all parental rights. Relief flooded through me. It's really over? It's over. He has no legal claim to your child. That night, Ethan and I celebrated quietly. He pulled me close, his hand resting on my rounded belly. We're really going to be parents, he said, wonder in his voice. We really are. Are you scared? Terrified, he admitted, but also excited. This baby is going to be so loved, Kai, by both of us. I kissed him softly. I know. We're going to be a great family. At 33 weeks pregnant, I woke up in the middle of the night with severe pain. I tried to convince myself it was just Braxton Hicks contractions, but the pain intensified quickly. Ethan, I gasped, shaking him awake. Something's wrong. He was alert immediately. Within minutes, Harrison had the car ready, and we were racing to the hospital. Ethan held my hand in the back seat, his face tight with worry. You're going to be fine, he kept repeating. Both of you. At the hospital, doctors swarmed around me. I heard fragments of their conversation. Preeclampsia, high blood pressure. Might need to deliver early. Fear gripped me. It was too soon. The baby needed more time. A doctor with kind eyes leaned over me. Kai, your blood pressure is dangerously high. We're going to try to stabilize you, but if we can't, we'll need to deliver the baby today. It's too early, I cried. The baby needs more time. 33 weeks is early, but babies born at this stage have excellent survival rates, she assured me. Right now, we need to focus on keeping both of you safe. They admitted me and started medications to lower my blood pressure. Ethan refused to leave my side, his wheelchair positioned next to my bed. He held my hand through every contraction, every moment of fear. I'm scared, I admitted. I know, but you're the strongest person I know. You've survived your family's rejection, an arranged marriage to a difficult alpha, and you're about to become a parent. You can handle this. Despite the medication, my condition worsened over the next few hours. The decision was made. They would deliver the baby via emergency cesarean section. As they prepared me for surgery, Ethan squeezed my hand. I love you. No matter what happens. Remember that I love you. I love you too, I whispered. They wheeled me into the operating room. Because of my condition, Ethan couldn't be present for the delivery. The last thing I saw before the anesthesia took effect was his worried face as they closed the door. I woke up in recovery, groggy and confused. A nurse smiled at me. You have a beautiful baby boy. 7 weeks early, but he's a fighter. Where is he? Is he okay? He's in the NICU. Your husband is with him now. They brought me a wheelchair, and despite my surgery pain, I insisted on going to see my baby immediately. The NICU was intimidating, full of beeping machines and tiny babies in incubators. But then I saw Ethan. He was next to an incubator, tears streaming down his face, his hand inside touching the smallest person I had ever seen. Our son. Kai, Ethan said when he saw me. Look at him. He's perfect. I wheeled closer, and my heart nearly burst. The baby was tiny, barely 4 pounds, with tubes and wires attached to his small body. But he was beautiful. He had a shock of dark hair and the tiniest fingers. Can I touch him? I asked the nurse. She nodded, helping me position my hand through the incubator opening. When my finger touched his palm, his tiny hand wrapped around it instinctively. He knows you, Ethan said softly. He knows his parents. We stayed there for hours, just watching him breathe. The nurses told us he was doing well considering his early arrival. He needed help breathing and maintaining his temperature, but he was strong. What should we name him? Ethan asked. We had discussed names before but never settled on one. Looking at our son now, the answer felt obvious. How about Asher? I suggested. It means happy and blessed. Ethan smiled through his tears. Asher Cross. It's perfect. The next few weeks were the hardest of my life. I was recovering from surgery while Asher fought to grow stronger in the NICU. Ethan and I practically lived at the hospital, taking turns sitting with our son, talking to him, letting him know we were there. The NICU nurses were amazing. They taught us how to feed Asher through a tube, how to change his tiny diaper, and how to practice kangaroo care, holding him skin to skin against our chests. The first time I held Asher against my bare chest, feeling his tiny heartbeat against mine, I cried. This was my son, our son. Ethan got to hold him too, watching my husband, this strong, complicated man who had been through so much, holding our tiny baby with infinite gentleness broke and healed my heart simultaneously. I was so scared I wouldn't be able to do this, Ethan confessed one day as Asher slept against his chest, that I wouldn't be a good father because of my limitations. But holding him like this, I realized that love doesn't require working legs. It just requires being present. One evening, as we sat together in the NICU, Ethan said, I need to tell you something about the accident. I looked up, surprised. He rarely talked about that day in detail. My fiancée, Sarah. She was pregnant when she died. My breath caught. Oh, Ethan. We had just found out. She was 8 weeks along. We were so happy making plans. His voice wavered. When the drunk driver hit us, I lost everything in an instant. Sarah, our unborn baby, my ability to walk. For 2 years, I believed I'd never get a second chance at that happiness. Tears rolled down his cheeks. But then you came into my life. You gave me hope again. And now, with Asher. He looked at our sleeping son. I feel like Sarah would be happy for me. Happy that I found love again and that I get to be a father after all. I took his hand. I think she would be. And I think she'd approve of the amazing father you're becoming. He smiled through his tears. Thank you. For everything. For this family. After 3 weeks in the NICU, the doctors finally said Asher was strong enough to come home. He was still small, just 5 pounds, but he was breathing on his own and feeding well. The day we brought him home felt surreal. Harrison had prepared the nursery, and the entire house seemed to buzz with excitement. That first night, as Asher slept in his bassinet next to our bed, Ethan and I lay awake watching him. We're parents, I whispered. We're parents, he echoed. How did we get so lucky? Luck had nothing to do with it. We fought for this. For each other, for our family. The first few weeks at home were exhausting. Asher needed to eat every 2 hours, and neither of us got much sleep. But there was joy in the exhaustion, the joy of watching our son grow stronger each day. Ethan was an incredible father. He learned to change diapers with impressive efficiency, figured out how to position his wheelchair to rock Asher to sleep, and spent hours just talking to our son. One afternoon, I found him doing physical therapy exercises while Asher watched from his bouncer. What are you doing? I asked. Getting stronger, he said simply. I want to be able to stand while holding him, maybe even take a few steps. The therapist says it's possible with enough work. Ethan, you don't have to. I want to. Not because I think I need to walk to be a good father, but because I want to try. For me, for us, for him. I knelt beside him, careful not to disturb Asher. You're already an amazing father, but I'll support whatever goals you have. 3 months after Asher was born, something miraculous happened. I came home from a doctor's appointment to find Ethan standing in the living room, actually standing, with the help of leg braces and a walker. Harrison was nearby, ready to catch him if needed. But most incredible of all, Asher was in Ethan's arms. Look, Ethan said, his voice shaking with emotion and effort. I'm holding our son while standing. Tears streamed down my face as I approached carefully. You're doing it. I can't walk yet. Maybe I never will. But this... He looked down at Asher, who was staring up at him with wide eyes. This is enough. I wrapped my arms around both of them carefully, forming a small family circle. This is more than enough, I agreed. This is everything. Life with a baby was chaotic and beautiful. Asher was 6 months old now, growing stronger every day. His laugh could light up the entire house, and watching Ethan play with him filled my heart with indescribable joy. But peace never lasts forever. The trouble started with a phone call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, is this Kai Cross? A woman's voice, unfamiliar. Yes. Who is this? My name is Detective Sarah Chun. I'm investigating your former partner, River Hayes. I need to ask you some questions. My blood ran cold. River? What did he do? I'd prefer to discuss this in person. Can you come to the station? I agreed, my mind racing. What had River gotten himself into? At the police station, Detective Chun led me to a small interview room. She was a professional Omega with kind but serious eyes. Mr. Cross, how well do you know River Hayes? We were in a relationship about 2 years ago. It ended badly. I haven't had contact with him since he dropped his claim to my son. She nodded, taking notes. What can you tell me about his business dealings? Business dealings? River didn't have a business. He was a student when I knew him. He's not a student anymore. He's been running a sophisticated fraud operation, scamming Omegas out of their savings by posing as an investment advisor. She pulled out a file. We have evidence that he specifically targeted vulnerable Omegas, those who had been disowned by their families or were in difficult situations. My stomach churned. That's horrible. There's more. We believe he may have targeted you specifically because of your family's wealth. Your relationship with him, was it genuine? Or did he pursue you? I thought back, memories I had buried resurfacing. River had approached me at a charity gala. He had been charming, attentive, and interested in every detail of my life, including my family's business. Oh God, I whispered. He was using me? We think so. We found communications suggesting he planned to get pregnant by you and then extort your family for money. When your relationship was discovered, his plan fell apart. The room spun. My entire relationship with River had been a lie. He had never loved me. I had been a target. Mr. Cross, did he ever have access to your financial information? No, my family controlled everything. After they disowned me, I had nothing. That explains why he dropped his claim to your son so easily. You weren't worth the effort anymore. She closed her file. We're building a case against him. I wanted to warn you in case he tries to contact you again. I left the station feeling nauseous. The man I had thought I loved, the biological father of my child, was a criminal who had manipulated me from the start. When I got home, Ethan took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. What happened? I told him everything. He listened silently, his expression growing darker with every word. That bastard, he finally said. You could have been seriously hurt. Asher could have been part of his scheme. But he wasn't, I said firmly. Because I met you. This family is real, Ethan. Built on truth and love, not lies. He pulled me close. I'm so sorry you had to learn this, but I'm glad the police are handling it. That evening, as we put Asher to bed, I felt grateful for how things had turned out. If River's plan had succeeded, I would never have met Ethan. I would never have found this happiness. But the revelations weren't over. A week later, an elegant Omega appeared at our door. She was older, perhaps in her 50s, with sophisticated clothes and an air of authority. I'm looking for Kai Cross, she said. That's me. My name is Victoria Hayes. I believe you knew my son, River. My heart sank. River's mother. We sat in the living room. Harrison brought tea, and Ethan positioned his wheelchair protectively close to me. Mrs. Hayes, if you're here to defend River, I began. I'm not, she interrupted. I'm here to apologize. That was unexpected. She set down her teacup with shaking hands. I didn't know about River's schemes until the police contacted me. I thought he was working in finance legitimately. When I learned the truth, her voice broke. I was horrified. He's my son, but what he did was unforgivable. Why are you telling me this? I asked gently. Because you deserve to know the full truth. And because, she paused, pulling an envelope from her purse. I want to do something right. She handed me the envelope. Inside was a legal document. River is going to prison, she explained. Before he's sentenced, I convinced him to sign over all parental rights to your child. No claims, no future contact. This document makes it official and irrevocable. Tears filled my eyes. Why would you do this? Because that baby deserves better than River. Better than our family. She looked at Ethan and me. I've done some research on you both. I can see that child has a real family here. I don't want our toxicity touching him. Ethan spoke up. Thank you. This means more than you know. Victoria stood to leave. I have one request. May I see him? Just once? I promise I'll never interfere in your lives. I looked at Ethan. He nodded slightly. Okay. I agreed. We brought Asher into the living room. He was awake, his big eyes curious about the stranger. Victoria's face crumpled when she saw him. He's beautiful. He has the Hayes eyes. He has his own eyes, I said softly. He's Asher Cross. Yes, she agreed. Asher Cross. That's who he is. She touched his tiny hand briefly, then stepped back. Thank you for letting me meet him. Take good care of each other. After she left, Ethan and I sat in stunned silence. I can't believe that just happened, I said. Sometimes people surprise you, Ethan replied. She's not responsible for her son's actions, but she's trying to make it right. That takes courage. With River's parental rights officially terminated and Victoria's blessing, We decided to make our family complete in another way. I want to adopt Asher legally, Ethan said one evening. Make it official that I'm his father in every way. Are you sure? I asked, though my heart soared at the thought. I've never been more sure of anything. He's my son, Kai. In my heart, he always has been. I want the paperwork to reflect that. We started the adoption process immediately. Because we were married and River had relinquished all rights, it was straightforward. The day the adoption was finalized, we had a small celebration at home. Margaret and Richard came, along with Harrison and a few close friends. To our grandson, Margaret said, raising a glass. Welcome to the Cross family officially, Asher. Richard, who had been distant at first, held Asher with surprising gentleness. He's a good boy, strong, like his father. He looked at Ethan when he said it, and the meaning was clear. Ethan was Asher's father. That night, after everyone left, the three of us lay in bed together. Asher was between us, making happy baby sounds. We did it, I said. We're officially a family. Ethan kissed Asher's forehead, then mine. We were always a family. The papers just made it legal. Still, it feels different. Better. Everything's better now, Ethan agreed. I have you. I have Asher. I have a purpose again. My life started the day you walked through that door. Your life started the day you decided to let me in, I corrected. You could have kept your walls up. You chose to take a chance on us. He smiled. Best decision I ever made. As Asher drifted off to sleep between us, I thought about everything that had led to this moment. The rejection from my family, the betrayal by River, the arranged marriage that seemed like a punishment. But every difficult step had been necessary to bring me here, to this man, this baby, this family. Ethan, I whispered, do you ever think about what would have happened if we hadn't been forced together? Sometimes, he admitted. In another life, we might never have met. I'd still be bitter and alone, and you'd still be searching for acceptance. Instead, we found each other. We found home, he said. That's what you are to me, Kai. Home. I kissed him softly, carefully so as not to wake Asher. You're my home too. Both of you. Outside, rain began to fall softly against the windows. Inside, our small family was warm, safe, and complete. Whatever challenges tomorrow brought, we would face them together. 2 years had passed since that rainy night when Ethan first called me home. Asher was now 2.5 years old, running through the Cross estate with boundless energy and his father's determination. Papa! Papa! He toddled toward Ethan, who was standing with his walker near the garden. Yes, standing. After years of intensive physical therapy, Ethan could walk short distances with assistance. He would never run or move without aid, but the progress was remarkable. What is it, buddy? Ethan asked, bracing himself as Asher crashed into his legs. Butterfly. Asher pointed excitedly at a monarch butterfly floating through the garden. I watched from the patio, my hand resting on my rounded belly. At 6 months pregnant with our second child, a daughter this time, I tired easily but insisted on staying active. That's beautiful, Ash, Ethan said. Should we follow it? Together, they moved slowly through the garden, Asher's small hand gripping Ethan's leg as his father navigated with the walker. It was a sight that never failed to make me emotional. Tea, Master Kai? Harrison appeared with a tray. Thank you, Harrison. What would we do without you? Let's hope you never have to find out, he said with a smile. Over the years, Harrison had become more than staff, he was family. My phone rang. I glanced at the screen and felt my stomach tighten. It was my mother. I hadn't spoken to my family in over 3 years. Not since they disowned me and forced me into this marriage. They had sent gifts when Asher was born, impersonal, expensive things, but no personal contact. Hello, I answered cautiously. Kai. My mother's voice sounded older, tired. It's been too long. That was your choice, Mother. I know. And I'm calling to tell you. She paused, and I heard her take a shaky breath. Your father had a heart attack last week. He's recovering, but it gave us all a scare. It made me think about family, about regrets. I waited, saying nothing. We were wrong, Kai. Wrong to reject you, wrong to throw you away like garbage. You were our son, and we should have supported you no matter what. She was crying now. I know we don't deserve your forgiveness, but I needed to tell you. I'm so sorry. I closed my eyes, emotions swirling. Part of me wanted to hang up, to let them feel the pain they had caused me. But I looked at Ethan and Asher playing in the garden, thought about the daughter growing inside me, and realized something. I didn't need their apology to be happy. I had already built a beautiful life without them. Thank you for calling, I said quietly. I'm glad Father is recovering. But Mother, I have a family now. A real family who loves me unconditionally. I don't know if there's room in my life for people who only value me when it's convenient. I understand, she whispered. But if you ever want to talk, to let us meet your children. Maybe someday, I said. But not yet. Goodbye, Mother. I hung up and sat quietly, processing. Ethan wheeled over a few minutes later, having transitioned back to his chair for easier mobility. Asher was on his lap, playing with a toy butterfly. Are you okay? Ethan asked, reading my expression. My mother called. She apologized for how they treated me. How do you feel about that? Honestly? Indifferent. They hurt me badly, but that pain doesn't control me anymore. I'm happy now, Ethan. Genuinely happy. Whether they're part of our life or not doesn't change that. He reached for my hand. Whatever you decide, I support you. If you want to reconnect with them eventually, we'll navigate it together. If you don't, that's valid too. This was why I loved him. He never told me what to feel or how to react. He simply offered support and let me choose my own path. That evening, after putting Asher to bed, Ethan surprised me. I have something for you, he said, pulling out a small box. Inside was a delicate necklace with 3 small stones. Emerald, sapphire, and a space for a third. Emerald for Asher, born in May, he explained. Sapphire for our daughter, who will be born in September. And space for any future children we might have. I fastened it around my neck, tears in my eyes. It's perfect. You're perfect, he corrected. You came into my life when I was broken, and you helped me become whole again. You gave me a family, purpose, love. I want you to know that every single day, I'm grateful for you. Kissed him deeply. I'm grateful too. You saved me, Ethan. You saw value in me when no one else did. We saved each other, he said simply. For months later, our daughter was born. Unlike Asher's dramatic early arrival, her birth was smooth and uncomplicated. We named her Lily, after Ethan's mother's favorite flower. Watching Ethan hold our daughter for the first time, I marveled at how far we had come. This man who thought he would never be a father was now cradling his second child with confident, gentle hands. She's perfect, he whispered, counting her tiny fingers. Asher, now officially a big brother, was fascinated by his sister. He would sit next to her bassinet for hours, telling her stories and showing her his toys. Lily, this is Mr. Butterfly, he would say seriously. He lives in the garden. One afternoon, 6 months after Lily's birth, we received unexpected visitors. My family, all of them, appeared at our door. My father looked older and frilier. The heart attack had taken its toll. My mother stood beside him, nervous. Even Marcus was there, looking uncomfortable. We know we don't deserve your time, my father began. But we wanted to see you, to meet your family, to try, if you'll let us, to make amends. I looked at Ethan. He gave me an encouraging nod. Come in, I said. The meeting was awkward at first. My family marveled at the estate, at our children, at the life I had built. You seem happy, Marcus said quietly. Truly happy. I am. I'm sorry, he said, for everything. For not standing up for you when Father made his decision. My father approached Ethan. Mr. Cross, I owe you an apology as well. I sent my son to you thinking he was defective, that this arrangement was a punishment for you both. I was wrong. You've built something beautiful together. Ethan nodded stiffly. Kai is the strongest person I know. Your loss was my gain. My mother asked to hold Lily. As she cradled my daughter, Tears streamed down her face. She's beautiful. They both are. I've missed so much. You don't get to just step back into our lives, I said firmly. If you want to be part of this family, you need to prove you've changed. That means accepting me completely, my choices, my husband, my children. Everything. We will, my father promised. Whatever it takes. I didn't forgive them immediately. Trust had to be earned. But over the following months, they showed up. They called regularly, visited appropriately, and most importantly, they treated Ethan with genuine respect. One day, I found my father in the garden with Asher and Ethan. "Grandpa, watch me run," Asher shouted, racing across the grass. My father laughed, really laughed, in a way I hadn't heard in years. Ethan caught my eye and smiled. That evening, as we prepared for bed, I reflected on our journey. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked Ethan. "Taking on a broken Omega with a complicated past and another man's baby?" He pulled me close, careful of my still healing body. "Never. Not for a single second. You gave me everything I thought I'd lost. Love, family, purpose. If I could go back and change things, I wouldn't. Every difficult moment led me to you. Even the accident?" I asked softly. He considered this. "Even that, as horrible as it was, it humbled me. It forced me to rely on others. It taught me that strength comes in many forms. If I had remained the arrogant, able-bodied alpha I was before, I might have overlooked you completely. Well, I'm glad you didn't overlook me." "Impossible," he said, kissing my forehead. "You were always meant to be mine." 5 years later, on Asher's 7th birthday, we held a large party at the estate. Both of our families were there, the Crosses and now, tentatively, the Sinclairs too. Asher ran through the garden with Lily and their younger brother, 3-year-old Thomas, while adults watched indulgently. Ethan was walking without his walker now, using only a cane for balance. His progress had been slow but steady, driven by his determination to be as present as possible for our children. "Papa, come play," Asher called. "I'm coming, buddy," Ethan called back, making his way carefully across the grass. My mother approached me. "You've built something remarkable here, Kai. A real home filled with love. I'm proud of you." Hearing those words I had craved for years, should have felt victorious. Instead, they just felt nice. "Thank you, Mother. But I didn't do this for your approval. I did it for me, for my family." "I know. That's what makes it so impressive." As the sun set on the party, I stood on the patio watching my husband play with our children. Harrison was organizing the cleanup with characteristic efficiency. Both sets of grandparents were chatting amiably. Friends and family filled our home with laughter. This life, this beautiful, complicated, perfect life, had started with rejection and pain. I had been disowned, given away, treated as worthless. But from those ashes, something extraordinary had grown. Ethan caught my eye from across the garden and smiled. That smile that still made my heart skip even after all these years. He started to make his way over, our children following like ducklings. "There's Daddy," Lily squealed, crashing into my legs. Asher grabbed my hand. "Can we have cake now?" Thomas simply raised his arms, wanting to be picked up. Ethan reached us, wrapping his free arm around my waist. "Happy." I looked at our 3 beautiful children, at the man I loved more than life itself, at the home we had built together. "Happier than I ever imagined possible," I said honestly. "Good, because this is just the beginning. We have a lifetime ahead of us." He was right. This wasn't an ending, it was a beginning. A beginning built on truth, perseverance, and a love that had grown from the most unlikely circumstances. I had been disowned by my wealthy family and given to a disabled alpha they thought was too broken to notice I was pregnant. But that broken alpha had seen me, really seen me, and loved me anyway. He had become the father of my children, the love of my life, and the home I had always been searching for. And together, we had created something unbreakable. A family built on real love, not obligation. A home filled with acceptance, not judgment. A future bright with possibility. As we headed inside for cake, Asher slipped his hand into mine. Daddy, I love our family. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Behind us, the sun set over the Cross estate, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new joys, new adventures. But tonight we were together, and that was enough. That was everything.